for many of our community, the disparity in healthcare, food deserts, the inability to access food, the inability to be able to have a grocery store, the understanding what black bags are in many communities where individuals walk there, processed food, high fructose syrup. Many of these disparities in healthcare can be seen in the diets, the locations, the age of housing, and there are new change agents in our community. I want you to join me with my host, Kevin Hooks, and welcome Haile Thomas, a great, wonderful speaker. Both of you take your speakers off mute because you're both on mute.
Hi, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
No, it is ours. We really respect young evangelists. I mean, I think the very mindset of the entire nation had to change its lens on where change could be anticipated and begin to change and trust the youth in our culture and their commitment to being change agents and the new civil rights leaders. Welcome, both of you, this evening. How are you, Ms. Thomas?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful. Considering everything today, my book, Living Lively, launched, and it's an empowerment cookbook. So many of the themes that you alluded to just a few minutes ago are tied into it, including recipes and food. So I'm feeling really great today and grateful for this platform and opportunity. So thank you for having me.
Super. You're always welcome. So I always feel that you're rolling out. You're always welcome. I've had to really instruct many of my older friends to adjust their lens. It has really been a tough decision for them to let go and realize they aren't the new leaders of the new movement. Like, and I applaud it because I like young energy because that way you have a new voice, you got new testimony. How about you, Kevin?
I don't know. I feel like you're talking about me. Uh, but no, I think it's wonderful. But I'm super excited about your new book. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Living Lively, like I mentioned, is an empowerment cookbook, which essentially means that it's kind of bridging the gap between two different worlds, the world of self growth and self care, traditionally speaking, and then the world of food and nutrition. And so, in Living Lively, there are 80 plant based recipes to activate your power and fuel your potential, but there's also an entire 100 pages dedicated to 7 points of power, which are essentially 7 different areas in our lives that we can nurture and nourish in order to have holistic well-being. And those sections include things like our thoughts and mindset, our relationships, the ways we get educated, our societal perception, our world perspective, and the ways that we commit to creativity and community. So all of these things, impact our well-being overall. And I wanted to find a way to kind of get this connection going within my generation, but also all who need to hear it and all who resonate with the message. So I'm very excited to just see how it's received and for this next part of the journey to unfold.
That's amazing. The next part of the journey at 19. So you were talking about nourishing more than just the body. You're nourishing the mind, the spirit, the soul. Can you delve a little bit more deeply into how wellness and healthy eating can impact your well-being?
Absolutely. I mean, if we think about everything that's going on in our world right now, it's incredibly emotionally draining, mentally taxing, physically taxing as well. All of these things. Not only we're dealing with a pandemic, but we're also dealing with heightened racial issues and really everything coming to light. And it's extremely overwhelming for a lot of us, especially those of us who might be super sensitive to kind of the emotions of everyone. I am definitely an empath, so I take on a lot of what other people are feeling in addition to myself. And so Living Lively really provides the tools for kind of managing all of that and also understanding that it's okay to feel outraged, confused, hopeless and all of those things combined, but also very hopeful and empowered at the same time. As human beings, it's important to accept the multifaceted nature of our emotions and our experience in itself. And so, in committing to self care and diving into introspection and really processing how we're feeling, what we're thinking, either in solitude or with people that we trust, that's such an important piece of self care and health and wellness. Because I think a lot of us, especially in the Black community, we kind of tend to suppress things. And I mean, totally, reason for that in terms of having to kind of put on our shields as we enter the world. And unfortunately, it's left us damaged on the inside. We have to be strong all the time in this outward facing thing. But I think when we're with ourselves and we're in community with each other, it's so important to be vulnerable, to be open, and to find ways to nourish and uplift each other. And so that may look like, making a healthy meal for your family and cooking together, or having a cooking night, whatever it may be. Or that looks like calling your friends or checking in on your family members that you haven't heard from in a while. Like, all of those things are a part of our wellness. And even the ways that we internalize all of the projections that these systemic institutions kind of put onto us, right? Dismantling those things are all a part of how we take care of ourselves.
You have to help me understand one thing. I'm from Oklahoma, meat and potatoes guy. I
Yeah, yeah,
believe in everything you're saying. Help me with the taste. Can
yeah.
you assure me that your recipes are going to deliver some nice, great tasting meals, delicious nourishment for this body?
Yes, absolutely. Trust me, both of my parents are Jamaican, so there's like no such
Okay.
thing as
Well,
flavorless food.
okay, got it.
Yeah, and we all four of us in my family are vegan, and we've been able to really adopt this lifestyle and completely maintain our cultural ties and comfort foods and all of those things. And so, it's definitely a misconception that you'll lose everything you've ever known or ever connected to. It's just really kind of reimagining your plate and understanding that it's actually the seasonings and the paired herbs and vegetables and all those things that kind of make our favorite dishes our favorites. Nobody would want like a bland piece of chicken or steak or potatoes. All of that is nasty. So it's the same thing with bland lettuce and tomatoes just dry sitting there. So really just putting your love and your soul into the food is always what makes it taste good, no matter what ingredients you're using.
Can you show us any? You have anything handy to
Oh,
show?
okay. Well, I've got my book here.
Okay.
So let's see. Um, Speaking of Jamaican, we have my mom's Jamaican rice and peas with curry mushrooms in here, and that's one of her recipes. So we love using mushrooms as kind of a substitute for a more meaty texture, and
Ah,
mushrooms are incredibly nutritious, and they take on flavor really well. So any spices, this would be great in like a gumbo, or even doing like po' boys. You can use mushrooms for that.
woo.
Also have straight fire mac and cheese, which I actually made on
You gotta get
GNA
that a little closer right
earlier
there.
this
A
morning.
little closer.
Oh
There
yeah.
we go. Woo! That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and so this is made out of like cashews and carrots and nutritional yeast and all of these really awesome ingredients. And of course, switching to this lifestyle requires a little bit of like a palate change and a reimagining. But once you
Huh?
really get used to it and you enter it with this creative and open energy, it really can be so much fun and just an exploration of food and flavor. So those are some of my favorites. I have oven fried mushrooms. See here, this is a great one that's super crispy.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, there's a lot in here that can speak to comfort food and also just lighter dishes and salads and things like that. But no
Where can
bland salads allowed.
where can we buy? Where can we pick your book up?
So you
Is
can
it
get Living Lively anywhere where books are sold. So if you
oh,
want to support your local bookstores, like check in and see if they're selling it. But most of them are. I've seen a lot of indie bookstores carrying it, and major retailers as well. So yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
Munson, help me out, man. I'm trying to become vegan. I know you've already dove into the deep end, man, but help me out with this.
I'm a pescatarian, and I love it. I'm looking forward to the entire. I was so proud of her. She's a certified integrative nutritional health coach. And I think that the journey to wellness is very much starts with your consumption of food.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Um, you
No,
want to
I
share on
agree.
that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that food is the foundation of our energy and vitality. It shapes so much of how we just move and operate in the world, whether that's, our energy levels or our mood, our attitude, our mindset. All of these chemicals and unnatural ingredients are affecting us on a very deep level. And I think it's important to just A, have that awareness, and B, really be open to exploring all sorts of different things. And of course, that looks different for all of us, but just being open and aware and educated is really that first step. And that's exactly what happened in my family. The whole reason why I got into all of this was through my dad being diagnosed with type 2 diabetes when I was around 8 years old. And we were able to completely reverse his condition without the use of medication, and just changing our lifestyle and changing our eating habits. And this wasn't we didn't even have to go vegan to do that. We just reduced our meat intake significantly, upped the vegetables, stopped eating white rice, and got active together as a family. And the biggest piece of it was just getting educated. And I think when we have a deeper rooted purpose behind the lifestyle changes that we make, I think we hold ourselves accountable even more. And when we have that support system of friends, family, siblings, whoever it may be, it's also easier to move through that. So what I really appreciate is just having like community, and being able to learn and grow together versus going at it alone, because I think we all have very similar life experiences, of course, and just connecting those dots and finding ways to support each other can really help with a transition to, a healthier lifestyle, or just trying something out and seeing how you're feeling. And that's exactly what my family did with veganism. This was a few years after reversing my dad's condition, and we just did it as like a fun challenge. It wasn't anything too serious. We weren't like stressing ourselves out about being perfect. And on that journey of learning more about the body benefits, environmental benefits, ethical benefits, it just aligned with really who we want to be in this world, and what we want to support, what industries we want to support, and future we want to support. And so with that, we just were further invested in the lifestyle, and it's been so much fun exploring it.
And Munson, look what I found. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I just
Oh my God.
purchased her book. And if you guys can't see, in the top left corner, it says #1 bestseller.
Yeah, I see that.
What?
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 Oh
What?
my goodness.
I am so excited right now.
Oh.
So you said #1 bestseller already, girl. You better go.
Oh, that's amazing. No, I had not seen that before. I gotta get my screenshot real quick.
I literally I was like, I'm gonna buy the book and see. And first thing I see in the top corner is #1 bestseller. Man,
That is awesome.
everybody who's paying attention, you better get out there and get you a copy before they're gone.
Thank you.
So when you were starting on this journey writing a book, did you ever think like now? So we're #1 on Amazon in the recipe section. We're going to be #1 eventually in other categories. So I want you to start rehearsing your speech, your thank you speech. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it because you mostly want to change lives, right?
Yeah, I mean, throughout this entire journey, even before the book, my parents have always really instilled in me to be very much focused on the intention behind everything that I'm doing. And so for me, like, of course, being a bestseller book, that's amazing. And all these accolades are amazing. But I just entered this entire project with the intention of the book reaching all who need it, just falling into the hands of all who may need this message, and who may need this upliftment or guide, whatever it may be, just for it to reach everyone that needs it. And so with that, maybe a bestsellers list comes with that, maybe it doesn't. Whatever it is, I'm just so fulfilled with and proud of what I've put out into the world, and what so many people have poured into me in order for me to even pour into the book. So yeah, I'm very content with that alone. And of course, would be so happy to see the book be super successful. But in my opinion, it already is such a huge success, and I'm so proud of it. Yeah.
Congratulations.
That's my long pause, Hallie. It's
No
not
worries.
it's not you. It's kind of like your uncle. I'm just like I'm proud too. I'm just gonna
Oh,
be proud.
thank you. I know I miss my Uncle Leslie right now so much. He's always the hype man.
Yeah, we you're our girl. It's our girl. She's showing the world. And I really had to encourage some of my friends, like, dude, it's not your turn. Like,
Well, I think it's interesting, if you don't mind me interjecting. I think it's really interesting because so many people are like, like move over adults, like let the kids handle it. And I get that for sure, and I appreciate the support and like amplification of young voices, like to be on, the show and everything, and to be supported by so many adults in my life is great. But I think that it's even more amazing when we all put our experiences, our perspectives, our passion for change together versus saying this one group must be responsible for making this change or this one group is only capable of doing it. And so that intergenerational support I think is brilliant because in our world, unfortunately, it's like once you reach a certain age, you're kind of disposable, which is really horrible, to be honest. I think that a lot of people or a lot of structures in our society view it that way. Like you have to be young to be, exciting or intriguing for a lot of people. Or, if you're not young, being a celebrity is what validates your voice and your impact, right? But I think that there's so much value in all of us and all of our stories and experiences. And so I'm always down to like support and to be the teacher and the student at the same time and to do that. And I think that's what's going to bring everyone together is no more separation. We're all so deeply connected. And in order to acknowledge your power and for you to acknowledge my own, that is revolutionary to me and something that I'm really excited to see unfolding more and more.
yeah, well, that was more of what your uncle was saying. It, I wasn't. I was still on the street. I was still connected. I was still connected with young people that were in the movement, and I was just getting my friends who didn't understand what was happening. It's like I shared with him. You don't have to go to the barbershop, but you do have to pay the barber
Right.
because we can.
Right.
You are
Yeah.
blessed enough that you can, so you can actually pay the barber.
Yeah.
You don't have to march in the streets, but you can get some kids out of jail. You can actually support some others. So not necessarily saying we're not in it together, but as you level up, you want your position to kind of level up. My thing is I can lift now. I may not have been able to lift the 19-year-old and say, hey, come on a show. Oh, and by the way, in 2 weeks, I'll have, another blackbookstore.com will be up, and that'll be another site that you own, that your uncle will own, that and that'll level our people up more. So not so much as we're against each other, but change your vision so that you can change your mindset. And really for some people, it's like music, just get into the new dance. You may not TikTok, but just learn to do a little bit of TikTok. So have your own TikTok moves and get it. You really may not know how to Snapchat, but just learn a little bit of Snapchat so everybody in the family can engage in it. So that was more the lens, not because I've got smart friends. Some of them just start getting a little dated in their perspective of the truth. And for me, I think there's a value for youth because they are the adapters, they are the leaders, and they can stay up all night. When you're 19, you can stay up 2-3 more days, and
I don't know.
I like sleep. I'll be trying to get a little bit more sleep every day.
Me too.
So, but I think the other thing is as a change agent, this book is a directory. Because for many, the approach to eating differently, and you can share some of this, is how do you begin for even a Kevin, how does he look at the cookbook and develop a new relationship with mushrooms?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it is really experimenting and just being open-minded. Like it sounds super simple, and but it truly is rooted at that, is just being open to the new experience. And so in through like my nonprofit and where we teach kids about plant-based nutrition education and cooking, we come across a lot of picky eaters and kids who are super close-minded, and even their parents, in terms of food. And what we do is just create a safe space for them to try something and not like it, or try something and really enjoy it. So I think just the environment that we create in which we can explore these different things is so important and vital to, our success, or just the exploration of a different lifestyle. Excuse me. But yeah, so being open. And then of course, in the book I actually have a section on like how to approach it, and how to even deal with like family issues if you have any judgment, or issues with shopping and things like that, and how to make the recipes more affordable and accessible. So all of these things, I provide just as guides because they've helped me along the way. But let me turn to the page here. But it has just a lot of that basic information on really rapid fire facts, and how we can kind of jump into it. This is, you won't be able to read it, but there's a whole section on really prepping your mind and prepping your family or friends to adjusting to all of this with you, and even being a part of that journey. So yeah, I think just being open to getting educated and open to experiencing something new, because like, why not?
You mentioned a nonprofit. Tell us about your nonprofit. Happy is what it is?
Yes, yeah. So my nonprofit is the Happy Org, which stands for Healthy, Active, Positive, Purposeful Youth. And I started it when I was 12 years old. It's like, oh my gosh, 7 years ago, almost 8 years ago. And good gosh, I am getting old. It's so weird, actually. So many people
Did
in
you
our
just say that
generation.
out to us?
No, so many people in our generation are having like beginning life crisis, I guess, like it because of the overemphasis on our youth. I guess it's kind of weird when you're transitioning into the adult mode. But yeah, so 8 years ago I started it, and basically what we do is provide plant-based nutrition education to kids in underserved communities across the country and even around the world. And we've also kind of expanded our programming into covering things on self-care, emotional management, mental health. We actually just wrapped 2 sessions of self-care summer camp on Zoom with kids all around the world. It was awesome. They were learning about things like creating affirmation jars and how to build a healthy mindset, creating emotion potions, which are basically recipes for like raising your vibration, your energy when you're feeling down or overwhelmed or stressed. And so getting to do that with like 50 kids we had overall was so much fun, and we're really excited to expand in that area. But it's been a really beautiful journey, just learning from so many different communities and getting to do work that's really exciting and engaging for the kids.
Well, we're going to have to do more of this for sure. I've got a book coming out next month.
Oh, amazing.
I do. It's
Congratulations.
a coloring book, though, for adult women. So I have to get a copy for your mom. So the two of you, it's called Peace and Purpose.
I love that. My mom loves coloring.
It's a meditation book for coloring. It has affirmations and meaningful statements and all of
I
that.
love that.
We'll definitely have to do that. And then I have a little girl's book, uh, Little Professor Sky.
Oh, that's so awesome.
And so we have Little Professor Sky, but we're going to have an event together so we can actually create some more affirmation jars and have a whole community, and probably do some kind of cooking exercise. So I'm really, really proud of you being here. We want to rid food deserts and let our community know how to eat in a more healthy way. So I would hope that all of you would support this beautiful Haile Thomas, this smart, this innovative, but more than anything, I want to thank her parents for pouring into their beautiful daughter, and for all parents who pour into their children and love their children and let them grow and blossom with keeping their hands on the clay during that period of life, so they're not alone and they know that they have the capacity, but they also have the support. So, Haile, we are really proud of you, your number one book. We look forward to great things for many, many years to come. I'll figure out how we can go. For all of you who are watching, Living Lively is the title of this. You'll show it to us again. Living Lively, 80 plant-based recipes to activate your power, feed your potential. Living Lively. And it is by Haile Thomas. She is here. We look forward to this. The next time, you know what we're going to do, Haile, when we come, and I'm going to get you on Genius Inc., our other show about authors, is also have a dine in. So we'll invite some other vegans and have some people use, based on the promotion, the book, to have a dinner, and we'll all sit around and talk about how we, whose favorite, which favorite recipe we all came out of those 80 that you shared. So looking forward to seeing you, continued success, and we'll be in touch with you here. So for all of you, Living Lively and Haile Thomas, great book. Get out. Let's support this young woman and her family and her nonprofit. Happy.
Thank
Thanks
you
so
so
much, Haile.
much.
Have a wonderful evening.
Yes, you too. Thank you.
Continued success.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, Kev. So tell me about where you think life is going for the community on this new movement, because the movement continues. Where are we headed as a community?
Which movement? This diversity movement? Everybody
Yeah,
playing.
where is diversity right now, just for a few minutes before we go, because I know we've got an exciting trip coming down this lane. But what are you seeing happening?
Well, I think finally, I've been on the phone with clients all day, but I think finally we've got some stickiness to it. I think we're going to be able to really see some low term sustained change. But I mean, I think it's really important that we don't take the foot off the gas. That we make sure that we're shaping and the change and we're driving the narrative. Because the other thing I noticed, I talked to a client that's a Belgium-based company earlier today, and the people on the international front really don't have the same understanding of the importance of Black folk, to your bottom line that we do here in the United States. And so that's another thing that I'm really pushing toward, is making sure that everyone worldwide understands the value that we bring as a culture to your bottom line.
Super. Well, bruh, thanks for joining me tonight. This is a wonderful evening. We've had wonderful guests with Haile Thomas and her wonderful book, Living Lively. I am Munson Steve. This is my co-host, Kevin Hooks. We want to thank you for joining us here on A Seat at the Table. Thank you. Talk to you soon, Kevin. Peace. Good evening, everybody.